Have you ever just known something was going to happen before it actually did? Maybe you thought of someone right before they called, or you got a gut feeling that something big was coming, and it actually played out in real life. This wasn't luck or coincidence, it was your intuition trying to connect with you and tell you or give you the information about what to expect ahead. Hello everybody, I am Vaishali Nikhade. I am an engineer turned psychic with over 9,000 readings, and I show you how you can leverage the power of the spirit, which is typically called intuition, and the power of the stars, and I'm going to show you what that means by the end of this video, in order to be able to create momentum in your life. A Harvard Business Review study found that leaders who make intuitive decisions perform up to 23% better than those who rely just on logic. Intuition isn't woo, it is the data your conscious mind can't yet decode. The key is to be able to connect with the intuition and interpret the data. And I'm going to give you some pointers here as to how to do it. In this video, I'm going to show you how your intuition tells you about something before it happens or plays out in real life, and how you can use the Cosmic Chronicle to track energetic timing so that your instincts stop feeling random and start feeling more reliable. So here's what you're going to learn in this video. Is it possible to know something before it happens in real life? Intuition is a signal, not guesswork. Energy peaks create predictable windows. So let's get started. The first one is it possible to know something before it happens in real life? When I say before it happens in real life, what I mean is before it plays out in real life in the physical world. So there are numerous ways you can know something before it happens. The first one is using the power of intuition, and the second one is using the power of the stars, and using a combination of both these methods. They require you to be able to look beyond the five senses, or to connect beyond the five senses. The easiest example is, maybe you get a feeling that something is not right, and you kind of go with that feeling, versus you maybe just ignore that feeling and then find out that whatever you felt was really real. Most people are trained to make decisions using logic, so it is possible or likely that most people may ignore these feelings unless they have, say, one or two experiences, and when these experiences play out in real life, they're like, oh my god, that's what I was thinking, or that's what I was feeling, kind of a thing. For instance, let's say that you want to go from your home to the airport. Let's say I want to go from my home to the airport, and I get this weird feeling that I shouldn't really take the Uber. So instead of taking the Uber, I decide to take the train. And when I take the train to the airport, as I am looking out through the windows of the train, I see that the traffic is really jammed up. And had I gone the Uber route, I would have been late and most likely missed my plane. So that is what my intuition was trying to tell me, and say that do not go the Uber route, but go the train route. So this is just a small example, but as you start stacking up wins with your intuition, in the sense that you learn how to connect with with your own intuition, and to kind of decode whatever it is that it's trying to tell you, you will start making better and better decisions. Essentially, kind of knowing something before it happens, which is going to be reflected at the end of the decision. So in this particular example, it's when I reached the airport, or as I was traveling through the train and looking out the window, I saw that, oh my god, had I taken the Uber, then I would not have made my flight. And I have a reference video which essentially shows you how I connected with my intuition more than once, and how it tried to warn me. And it's about how my intuition led me to a thrill ride. I'm going to link that video down below as well. So the second part is that intuition is a signal and not guesswork. So logical thinking relies on the idea of linear timing and that everything happens linearly. But that is not the case, because if that was the case, then everyone would just make logical decisions and not intuitive decisions, and everything would just keep following logic, and it would be a really boring world to live in. So logic works a lot of times, but it doesn't work all the time. So logic essentially looks for proof, and essentially it looks for past data points, and essentially it is kind of extrapolating those data points and saying that, oh, if this is how it played out in the past, then this is how it is likely to play out in the future. However, intuition is just the opposite. Intuition just gives you the answer, and it just gets to the point, and it shows you or gives you the punchline without trying to kind of get into the route or how things are going to happen along the way. For instance, in the previous example, my intuition just told me that, hey, listen, don't take the Uber, just take the train. And my intuition didn't tell me that, hey, listen, if you take the Uber, then there's going to be a traffic jam, and then you're going to be, say, sitting in that jam, or maybe you take an exit, and it's going to be one heck of a ride. The intuition doesn't care about all that stuff. It just cares about the end point, which is me getting to the airport and taking the plane, or getting in time to board the plane. So whenever people are making a logical decision, they kind of go through all this process, and they write down the pros and the cons. And finally, after they have examined all these data points, they come to a conclusion. And intuition is like, bang, here's the answer. And then if you know how to connect with your intuition, or if you're trained to connect with your intuition and listen to it, then you know, oh, this is the answer. And then you just make the decision. And then the proof comes later. It's just like the proof came after I boarded the train or I was on my way. The irony is that logic is kind of looking for proof and past data points, whereas intuition is giving you the proof once your goal or objective is reached. Essentially, it is showing you a future data point without worrying or bothering about how the past data points were. Intuition doesn't really care about the past data points. It's just giving you the answer to your question. So the last part is energy peaks create predictable windows. So what if your intuition is not well developed, or you need additional assistance in order to get to a decision? Think of it as wanting some sort of confirmation. So how do you get that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to show you that right here. So essentially, think of leveraging the power from the stars. So essentially, outside of intuition, you can leverage the power of the stars. So think of these as the stars over here. And the stars have all the information except that it is coded, or it is not in a language which you speak, unless, of course, you speak the language of the stars. And if that is the case, then you can come and talk to me. So the stars have all the information that is coded. So what is needed is, for the stars will give you the information. So let's say these are the stars, and this tiny little creature is me, who is kind of sitting here on the planet Earth. And the stars have all the information. So essentially, what you need to do is you need to get the information down from the stars, or you get the information from the stars. But the second problem is that this information is coded. So not only do you need to get the information from the stars, you also need to decode it. And then once you decode it, so for instance, as a psychic, I can decode the information from the stars. Once you decode it, you can present this information in a common man's language. And that information is going to be something like, hey, listen, this is your, I'm just going to draw a month with, not the ideal thing is this is 30 days, but I'm not showing 30 days. So let's say that this is your month. So this is 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. So that is 30 days. So this is your month with 30 days. So once I get all the information from the stars, what I can do is I can say that, hey, listen, this period of the month is going to be really good for you. And these periods are all good. And then these periods are not so good. So think of it as like getting stuck in a traffic jam. So how exactly are you going to deal with these periods? And once you have this map, think of it as having a GPS when you're driving. So once you have this map, it's easier for you to navigate through the month and kind of plan your month so that during these red periods of time, you are not disappointed by the lack of progress. So how exactly do you get the information from the stars and how exactly you decode it? Well, there's different ways you can do it. For instance, think of it as astrologers getting the information from the stars and being able to decode it in a language which you and I can understand, or a psychic getting the information from the stars and being able to decode it in a language which you and I can understand. And essentially it would be at a very high level, it is showing you the good and the bad days, for lack of a better way of saying it. But you can kind of refine and fine tune this. And then you can say that, oh, this is what is going to play out during this part of the month. And this is what you can expect during this part of the month, and so on. So having this map is like having the GPS, and the Cosmic Chronicle actually provides you this GPS, which is every month I show you where or how these periods are going to occur. And then you can do it at different levels. You can do it at a yearly level, you can do it at a monthly level, you can do it at a weekly level, and then technically you can also do it at a daily level. But for the purpose of this discussion, we are just going to limit it to a weekly and a monthly level. And essentially what the Cosmic Chronicle does is it kind of gives you the map from the stars at a weekly level as well as a monthly level, so that you know where these periods are and what to expect during these periods of time. Kind of think of it like the previous video where I showed you, like when someone is running a marathon, how they plan it. So you can plan your month in advance and not get disappointed by the setbacks, and kind of cruise through a little more easily than you would have had you had no map. That really is the essence of the Cosmic Chronicle. And then you can use the power of the Cosmic Chronicle as well as your own intuition in order to be able to confirm a decision. And it's almost like having some sort of a backup or a confirmation, just in case you're hesitant or you haven't played or worked with your intuition enough to be able to come to a decision or a conclusion. So the link to sign up for the Cosmic Chronicle is below. You can sign up for the Cosmic Chronicle and then see how you can navigate through each week and each month and so on. So essentially what it does is it makes your decisions a lot easier. Your actions will feel natural and alignment will replace anxiety. So once you start playing with your intuition or connecting with your intuition, how exactly do you know if the decision you make is a good decision or not a good decision? Well, that is the subject of my next video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.